The Bug Crowd platform is the fastest way to access diverse security skills that continuously add value to your organization. First, we'll connect you with solutions that add the most value, like bug bounty, penetration testing, attack surface management, and vulnerability disclosure programs. When you're ready, we'll begin plugging your team into our on-demand cybersecurity workforce. Don't worry, our trust and triage engine will always vet expertise and validate reports, saving you valuable time. With standardized workflows repeatable as you scale, your team can hit the ground running. The platform will help build incentivization frameworks that optimize submissions, while also calibrating and retesting to deliver resilient security outcomes, all while managing the expertise needed for end-to-end execution. Finally, the customer console keeps you in the driver's seat, providing you everything you need to be successful, empowering you to fix faster with integrations that roll directly into your SDLC.
Good evening, all. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us today. We are pleased to welcome those who have been us within the previous session, and we also extend a warm welcome for those who are in the new part of this session. I, Gopal Mahaldar, and Disha Khatri will be your host for the evening. A special thanks to Mr. Gulab Mondal, Miss Chenny Ren, and Mr. Tushar Verma. It's an honor to be graced by the presence of such an accomplished personalities. We are grateful to you for accepting our invitation for the Damncon event. We are looking forward to your guidance for the new beginning.
I find immense pleasure in introducing Mr. Gulab Mondal. We are really thankful to him for taking time out of his busy schedule for attending the event. He is the Chief Operating Officer of ISOEH Data Securities Private Limited. Starting as a self-taught pen tester, he holds Offensive Security Certified Professional and Offensive Security Certified Expert certifications. As a startup COO, he worked towards building a stable and reliable cybersecurity firm with remarkable growth. He also acts as technical team lead for any cybersecurity project at ISOEH. ISOEH successfully delivered cybersecurity projects for companies like Tata Steel, Bandhan Bank, Vedanta, Electro Steel, Diamond Beverage, and many more. He reported multiple zero-day vulnerabilities with a CVSS of 9 or more and holds CVE ID. He is also a trainer and a speaker. He was invited as a speaker to various institutions like Infocom Kolkata, NASCOM for source code review training, West Bengal Electronics Industry Development Corporation Limited, ISACA Chapter Kolkata, and almost all engineering colleges in Kolkata as CSR activity. Sir, we now invite you to share your knowledge in demystify exploit development. Thank you.
So sorry to interrupt. Your voice is not coming. So please make sure your mic is unmuted because you are not audible for.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Continue, Yoga. Your voice is audible now.
Yeah, audible now, right?
Yeah, yes. Sir.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So, as I was on mute mode. So let's start from the very beginning. So thank you, Damncon, for inviting me on this, this wonderful 3 days session for cybersecurity. And today we will discuss about exploit writing. And as the introduction part is already covered by Gopal and Disha, so I will directly jump into this exploit writing topic, and I hope you will enjoy today's session. So what I have seen, that in cybersecurity domain you will came across with lot of platforms, lot of domains, like network security, web security, mobile security. Now, when you go through with all these domains, what you will find, that there are very less resources are available for a domain called exploit writing. And now the resources which are available as well, that is also very less, right? So I've turned off my camera, right? So basically I would recommend all the audience to uh, concentrate on this session. So this is going to be an entire live session. Okay, I will uh, take you through the basics to some of the advanced topic of exploit writing, and I will also cover like how you can start your journey in exploit writing, what the things which are there in exploit writing, which will help you out to make your career in exploit writing. So when resources are less, then one problem that most of the people face, they find that it is difficult than other domains, or you can also say, and I would say that if you will say that if you really wanted to understand that how exactly cybersecurity and it's information security works, then this is the domain from where you will get the real picture. For example, so lot of us go through with lot of exploits on a platform called exploit db, right? So if you visit to exploit db, for example, let's take an example of any of the exploit from exploit db. What you will find, you will find this sort of code, right? So if you have already worked on different tools in cybersecurity like metasploit, so if you ever go through with the source code of metasploit, you will find same sort of source code, same sort of shell code. Now at that time, people little bit get confused that, let's say, if I want to start, then from where to start? Because when it comes to web application pen testing, when it comes to network pen testing, when it comes to Android application pen testing, the things are different. You will see something, you will replicate that, right? So this is what this today's session's about, and we will discuss the same through this session. But before going into that, you know, let me go through with this, that what are the things that we are going to cover in this session. So when it comes to exploit writing, so for beginners, before directly jumping into the live things, I would love to make the audience understand how this exploit writing works and what exactly it means. So exploit, when you are writing an exploit, it means it's nothing but a piece of code. Sounds very simple, but a lot of tricks involved. So if you ask me to define exploit writing in one liner, then it's nothing but a piece of source code. Now, there has been a confusion between exploit writing and a reverse engineering, right? So sometimes people think this is a two different domains. Sometimes people think, reverse engineering is different, exploit writing is different, but that is not actually the case. So if you ask me, and if you ask me to connect these two dots, then what I would say, for example, let's say you are working on a exe file, right? For Windows based application, you will get some executable file. So when you reverse engineer that particular file, what you will able to see, you will able to see the assembly code, right? Now, if you want to do modification, if you want to implement some modification into that file, you have to write some assembly code. Now, if you take any single example, take any single example of any exploit that you ever worked upon, you will find that the source code or the exploit which was developed from the very beginning, the first step towards building that exploit is nothing but the exploit, reverse engineering, right? Now, so there are a lot of tools that are available in this market, right? A lot of methods are available. You can even develop your own tools. That's completely up to you. Now, in today's this session, I will cover about something called immunity debugger. So what is immunity debugger? So as it sounds, it's nothing but a debugger. So when you open this debugger, you will find this, these four blocks, which you can currently see in your screen, where you will find the first block represent all the CPU instructions, right? The second block explains all the registers. The third block explains the memory dump, and the fourth block explains the stack. Now, if you are familiar with registers, then this will start making sense to you. But if you are not familiar to registers, the first things, if you want to start your career in cybersecurity, in exploit writing basically, then the thing that you need to start with is registers, right? Now, I will come to that. I will show you the stuff. Okay, that how to start with. I will give you some basic examples and how to, you know, how you can start working on that. So we are going to cover all these in this session. So yeah, so we heard a term a lot, 0 day, correct? So you may heard of this term a lot of times, like someone has reported 0 day vulnerability in this application or that application, right? Like there were a lot of sessions, like you should thanks to Damncon, because they have also organized some of the bug bounty session. Some of the experts have came and they have, they have shared their thoughts on bug bounty. Now bug bounty is also a kind of, you can say a 0 day for that particular application, right? If you are working on a particular application and you are, if you're able to find out some vulnerabilities which is unique to that particular application, then that's a 0 day. Now the same thing you can do in case of any application, any desktop based application. So when I'm talking about desktop based application, it can be Windows, it can be Linux, it can be Mac, anything. The overall funda remains same. The only thing which gets changed, you know, is the platform. For example, let's say, as we all know, so I will keep this session very simple, right? So as I requested to keep, it's very simple and a basic, so that if someone is new to this domain, trust me, you will have something from this session. And if someone is pro, they will have something new from this session. Okay. So for example, if you are working on a particular application, let's say there is an application abc.exe. Okay. So in abc.exe application, in multiple places, you will find multiple variables defined. And if you try, if you want to understand cybersecurity, or finding out 0 day or any sort of vulnerability in any application, then it's all about variables, right? Now when we talk about variables, so it's about registers. So how exactly it is? So let's say whatever the instructions, whatever the data that you are pushing or pulling, that all happen through registers. Now in CPU registers, there are 4 types of registers are there in case of CPU. Now if you would say that, let's say, where is the use of these registers, then what I would recommend, have little bit of patience. This is the place. If you understand this part, trust me, this is going to be a very simple thing. Exploit writing and the, like the sessions which you have attended, maybe you have attended hundred of sessions in exploit writing, this is going to be different, right? Now when you cover registers, cover in a different way, right? Don't try to cover registers in one day. So in this session, let's try to understand 2 simple basic registers, right? One is instruction pointer registers, as you can see, this one, which is EIP. And let's understand one general purpose register called ESP. What exactly it is now, and why we are discussing this. The reason is, let's say when you run one application, then it follow some set of instructions. So that set of instructions is controlled by a register called EIP. And you will understand, you will see live in the practical, which I will cover, that I'm controlling entire application through EIP itself, right? So EIP, you can say, is a kind of a driver who drives the entire car or who drives the entire bus. How many passengers are sitting behind, that really doesn't matter, right? So entire control is with the driver. Okay, so EIP, you can say, is the driver. Now ESP, if you say, so it's nothing but a stack pointer. So let's say whatever the data that you push inside of an application, that happen through ESP registers only. Okay, now if you want to understand the power of reverse engineering, so before jumping into exploit writing, I will show you a small glimpse of reverse engineering, and I will show you the power. Okay, so I have been working on this domain for past many years. So I have done it like 6 to 7 years back. So when Suman contacted me that you need to take one session, so I thought of have opened these systems after I believe 3 years. But yes, it's always a fun. It's one of my interesting area. If you tell me what is my strength point, and then I would say this is the place, right? This exploit writing, I love like anything. Now, let me show you on power, right? So, nothing offensive, but yes, if you try to understand the power, so you will understand like how exactly it works. So this is one of the application which you can say is running, right? So you will find a lot of cracked applications, cracked softwares in the market. You can download it from internet. There are multiple platforms are available. Let's not discuss about those platforms, but let me discuss something which maybe you are not aware of, right? So as the session go on, I will tell you about that. You never know actually, right? So for example, like there is a very famous term is there, something called code caving. So what exactly code caving is? That's a very high end topic. So you can inject extra malicious code inside of the same application. For example, let's say when we do red teaming assessment, then I have performed red teaming assessment for multiple clients, and this is one of the place which I use very frequently, and the chance of getting success is very also high. The reason is, let's say you are working on an application called putty, right? Putty.exe, I believe a lot of you guys are aware of. So I write some extra code, yes, my own developed code, and how I used to develop my own code, that also I will cover in this session. Yes, you heard me correct. That secret I am going to reveal. And trust me, whatever the things which you have covered earlier, that is going to be different. Okay, so I used to inject some of the more lines of code into the same application. Let's say you have an antivirus running. Let's say you have a multiple security EDR is running in the system. I will do encoding and it will work. And it's working. And I have done it successfully. But the only challenge is you have to do it manually. And you have to write your own source code. So let's say there are a lot of bind applications are available, like in a lot of platforms where you can bind one malicious application to other malicious application, but that is not going to work in those scenarios, right? When you will try it in a real life scenario. Now here the example, the true power, if you want to understand, so this is one of the application, right? So what a attacker can do, so this is how immunity debugger looks like. If you're working on Windows, you can use immunity. There are other GDBs there for Linux, right? OLEDBG is there. You can use any of them. Working features is exactly same. Not much difference. It's completely up to you which one you want to start with. Okay. So what I will do, I will open the same application. So last time what I did, so the screen will be a little bit of small. The font is a little bit small because there is a 4 blocks. So I will increase the font later on. So what I am doing, let me open that particular file, right? And I will do it very quickly. I'm doing it live. So when the problem with the live thing is technical. So I may face an error. I may face a exception, the very famous term. But if we face a error, if we face a exception, that is really good for you, good for everyone, because that is what you are going to face when you will do it with your own. So I have opened the same application using immunity debugger now, right? Now let me use a magnifier. So if you now see, these all are nothing but the instructions, right? I believe all of you can see this. Here, okay, let me drag the window to this side. This will make it more visible. Yes. So, like if you remember that slide where I was talking about the CPU registers, I have discussed about this EX, ECX, EDX, EBX, EXP, EBP, ESI, EDI, EIP, right? So all you can see over here. Now, if I come to this section, so here all the instructions are there, right? Little difficult to understand, but trust me, if you bear with me for another 15 minutes, it is going to be very easy with you. And let me drag it to this side now. So this is the memory dump, right? Like whatever the value that you will push, you will be able to see to this side. And the last section, this section you'd say is hex. Okay. Now, if I run this application, then what will happen? So this application is paused. So let me do it in this way first. Okay. It will make you guys will more comfortable to understand. So for example, what I'm going to do, let's say you are going to you have, let's say, let's do it for test, okay, and give some registration code, and when you click on OK, so it will give you a message called instruction registration code, or this is invalid, right? Let's close this one. Registration code or username is invalid. Now let's do it differently now using Unity Debugger. So basically what happened, back of the scene. Now if you ask me, is it the same thing happens with all the applications? So no, that is not a silver bullet. You can't simply penetrate all the application in the same method. This is one of the method. Okay, now let's attach it. Now let's run this one. So what I have done, I have already, the thing is not that simple. So as you can see, I have already added 2 breakpoints over here. I'm just going, take you to the overview, because in a single day you will not be able to understand everything, but just try to see what can be done when you see something at this level. Okay, now let's click on play button. This is the play button. So I believe in background application is running, right? This is the application which is running. Now what I will do, I will enter the registration key. Now before I enter registration key, one thing, if you see in the application, let me show you. Yes, so when you see practicals, when you see reverse engineering, exploit writing, this is how the screen looks like, right? And this is how you need to zoom in your screen to see the data. But yes, it is quite interesting. It's completely different than other domains. Now you can see over here the 2 red marks, the 2 red thing which you can see over here, it defines the breakpoint. What is breakpoint? So basically at this, I have said I have identified 2 points, right? There is a method for that. So in between these 2 breakpoints, something is happening, right? String 2 and string 1, and something, they are comparing something, right? So comparing what? So I am assuming string 2 maybe uh, the registration key which I have provided, right? Or the string 1 is the key which is going to match, right? The default one which is there in the application itself. Now if I enter, let's do it this way. Let's give one dummy value. So I am giving dummy value as 111, 222, 333, and 444, right? Now if you click on OK, now could you see over here? Yeah, I have to use magnifier again. If you're not able to see, let me show it over here. String 2, could you see? So my assumption was correct that 111, 222, 333, 444, which is the data which I have sent, and they are going to compare it now. So let's do it in this way. Let's focus on this area. So basically I am highlighting this area, right? So next part which you can see, so I have zoomed in that part. So now if I press F7, what you will able to see that they are comparing this code with this ASCII. So there are 2 ASCII. So if this 2 ASCII gets matched, then you have entered a right registration key. If it's not gets matched, then you have entered a wrong one, right? So what I will do now, the idea is very simple. Let's copy to the clipboard, right? Let's close this magnifier. So I understood this part. Let's give it a try now. So what I will do, let's open Notepad, keep it over here. So this is the code which I have shown you, right? So I just copy paste from that Imri debugger. Now there are two sets of code which you can see. Now if I enter the registration code, let's enter out this. Let's put the value CBJ0 CBJ0 AC0R IX YY KX EG, right? This is the value. So I've entered the same value. It is quite simple now to just copy paste the value. Now you can't copy paste, that's why I have entered the value, right? Now this is the value which I have entered, right? Now if I click on OK, what you can see, registration succeed. Thank you for choosing the keylogger. Correct? So that's the power of reverse engineering, right? So this is nothing. If you say like, is this reverse engineering? I would say it's nothing. Now when you open this program, right, this will work completely fine. Like it's no more of any reason key. You have the product. Okay, congratulate. Now, but the point is what? This was not the agenda. The agenda was something different, right? The agenda was that yes, when you are building one application, in case of web application, it's quite simple that you can, you know, intercept the request using Bob suit. You have everything, on over the client side. You can see data, you put data, and it will work like anything, like butter, right? But in case of exploit writing, why there are less people in this domain? The reason of this only, because the thing which you have just seen, you simply can't start like this, right? Now, what if I ask a very basic question, that which Windows API is responsible for any pop-up message which you are getting in Windows, right? For example, let's open any application. So I am showing you something, and I can bet that this is going to be the more interesting than what you have seen so far. So let me just choose any application. So if you just ask me that which application to choose, like this is not dependent. You can do it using any application. Okay. So I have just attached one of the application in debugger, and what I am going to show. So for cell code, right? So when we talk about cell code, so what I am expecting, if you have ever used Metasploit or any other exploit framework like exploit pack or anything, or a Cobalt Strike or Canvas, anything, this will make more sense to you. So basically what happened in case of Metasploit, in case of exploit pack or any other framework like Whale framework, whatever the framework which you have used, when you are generating the cell code, I will show you that as well. You are generating a huge chunk. For example, let's say I want to open a simple calculator in victim system. I believe a lot of you guys have done it using Metasploit. right? There is a module available. I'm just giving a very small example. Let's say that you want to take a reversal, right, in CMD. So some of the, like, metasploit module, like reverse underscore metasploit metapeter slash reverse underscore TCP, or metapeter slash cell underscore reverse underscore TCP. So a lot of payloads are available. You can use that, or you can even generate the cell code using MSF Venom. But the size would be like around 2300 bytes, or 1800 bytes, or even more, much larger than that. Now, let's say just try this one after this session. Like, if you are a hardcore guy, just try to generate a payload in MSF Venom to open a calculator in victim system. You will find the size would be minimum 1000 bytes, more than, like, I'm telling you minimum, but it is going to be 2300 or 2400 around, right? Now, the same thing you can achieve in hardly, within 20 bytes. Yes, you heard me correct. Now, let me show you. So I just took this as an example, right? Yes, this is going to be, very much technical, but you are going to enjoy it. And I will show you, like, how exactly I am writing this. Okay, you will be able to understand. So I'm just writing a piece of instructions over here. So again, I would recommend, here I will not be able to use magnifier again and again. I will, at last, I will just show you, I will give you the magnifier view. What I would suggest, if you are watching this session using any platform, you zoom in your screen, right? You will be able to see that. And if not, at last, as promised, I will open magnifier. Okay, so we all heard of something called XOR. So what I have typed, okay, better if I typed it in first notepad, I believe this will give you much better idea. Then I will simply copy paste the same thing over there. So let's type XOR EAX comma EX. Why? Okay, like should you take EX? Like only EX will work? Nothing like that. Apart from EIP, you can take any registers. I would not suggest to take ESP. Basically, ESP is a stack pointer register. So whatever the data that you are going to push, that will go into ESP register. So apart from ESP and EIP, you are free to use any register, right? In general purpose registers. Now, you can type XOR. You can do XOR EBX comma EBX. So anybody, like, I really wanted to see, like, if you have any questions, you can drop it in the chat box. At last, I will just check once the messages, right? So there will be a Q&A where I will tell you if you're not able to understand anything. But I just wanted to, want you to answer. So when we are XORing the same thing, so like the value will be how much? 0, right? So it's a best practice. Like whenever you initiate a variable, it's better to keep the initial value as 0, right? So that's what we have done. Now, so I have chosen two. Let's say I need two variables, so I choose two registers, right? And why I'm doing this? Why two registers? Okay, let me make you understand this as well. I told you, like, things are very simple. The only difference that you need to take a right approach. And I would request, like, any host over here, like if anybody asks any questions, so as I'm not able to see the the live chat window, so like you can inform us and I would love to answer the audience questions answer. Now just so I've just opened one of the DLL, so you will find a lot of such windows, right? For example, so let's open through, just type MSDN. I'm just showing you like to make you understand like how exactly this works. So whenever any application you will execute, let's say if you want to open uh, CMD or calculator, the functions or the Windows API which is responsible for this is something called winexec. Okay, so you can just type winexec MSDN, and there is a very good tutorial as well available. So I follow this like during start of my career, I followed this particular website a lot. This is the official website. You will find each and every modules or function which is there in case of Windows. Okay, and it's a very good start. Like when you understand this, it will not that difficult to write some the same piece of code where you are take help from a tool like Metasploit, and the size increased by 10x 100x bytes. You can achieve the same thing by using some small bytes, right? So winexec accept two parameters, CMD line and CMD so what exactly it is. So if you just scroll down, you will able to see, and there are a lot of hell like huge informations are available, and this winexec is a part of nothing but a kernel 32.dll, right? So this piece of information was needed. Now that is why two variables, like what my agenda is. So I'm just I'm not trying to cover as much as topic. I'm just trying to make you understand like how exactly you can start your career in exploit writing. And what I have found, like, see, I have been uh, doing this for a long time. I took a lot of sessions. Like I took the classes of more than 2 to 3,000 students so far in my career. And I've seen one thing, like people are interested in reverse engineering, people are interested in exploit writing, but they jump, right? They directly jump into writing one exploit, but that is not going to happen.
Excuse me, sir. Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah,
but can we start the Q&A session? Q&A session. The
yeah,
questions
so
are being prompted. So, the prompted the first very first question is, why are we using Windows 10? Just asking.
okay. So see, like if you want to drink water, doesn't matter if the glass is of the glass which you are using is of made of plastic or made of any other material. It's all about the the things which you want to learn. So here in this case, if you are asking in this perspective, though it is platform independent, you can use any platform which you want. So it's not like that Windows 10 you use MacBook, right? You use Linux, you use any other platform. This was one of the old machine, as I said, so I am working on it. So nothing about that. You can use any machine. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next question asked by Vikas Anand. There is no option of zoom in immunity debugger.
Yes, there is no option to zoom in immunity debugger, but you can change the appearances. You can change the font, but that also to a certain limit, right? So that is why I'm using a magnifier.
Okay, thank you. Now, The next question is how to get started in reverse engineering.
Yes. So like as I said, like I would love to take this question at last. So once I cover up this all these things, okay. So I believe like we have time till 4. So last 10 minutes, I will tell you this in a very detailed way. This needs at least 5 to 7 minutes to explain. So I will do it at last. And like one more thing, I am really happy that you guys are interacting with me, okay, through this Damncon. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, Gopal.
Thank you, sir. So I believe we are waiting for the questions. If anybody has something more to say, we can put it on the screen and we will ask from the speaker, Mr. Gulab.
So thank you. I would love to see more questions from your end, so that this is something, a message that yes, you are watching my session. And you may understand, you may not understand few things, because this topic is little different. But I'm trying to keep it very simple. I'm just moving slowly, so I'm not in hurry, right? We have a lot of times. I would not say that I have only left with 20 minutes. This 20 minutes is nothing. We have a lot of time to cover this. You can always interact with me, right? So let's jump into this. This is very important, and you will understand the magic. The same thing which you are doing using Metasploit, the same thing which you are doing using some other tools, you can achieve the same thing by using your own technique in just within few bytes, right? Now, so I took two variables and just see how I am doing this. Now I push EBX. Why I push EBX? So when you write something push, it will push into stack, right? So stack value becomes 0, so that it will not overlap with some existing value. So that is why push EBX. Nothing compulsory, but good to have. Okay. Now I am pushing some value, but I will also explain you how to get this value. So when you will, I want from any of you to tell me like how exactly I got this value. So if you are interested in knowing this value, so just let me know, okay, through chat box, through message. So ask it as a question. So if I get this as a question, I will answer this, okay. That how exactly I am getting this value, these two values, and I will explain you, right. So I have done it for a lot of time. So I always take a note of this value, but nothing like that. Like you can always uh, now I push two values. So what exactly this value is? This value defines calc.exe. And it's a 32-bit system, so you can't enter it in one go. So I am just pushing it in two times, but the value is same. Now, how you can get this value? Please answer in the chat box. I would love to see some answers. Now, when I push the value in ESP, so what I will do? I will just push the value. I will just move the value of ESP to EBX. Now, EBX containing calc.exe, right? I will push one. I will tell you the reason. I have shown you that Windows API URL, right? There you have seen that it was written. It requires two variables, and at last I will push EBX, and at last what I will do, I will call kernel 32.winexec, right? You can do that. Now I need to type the same thing over there due to lack of time. Okay, what I will do, see, this is the same value. I kept it ready for you guys. I was aware of this, that this is going to take time, right? So I will just select the area which I have copied. Okay, I will not take up to this part. Knob should be fine. So I'm just adding some of the, as I said, like you can add some of the more instructions in the same piece of code. So there is a technique for that. and I will do Windows paste, binary paste, and let's see. Yes, the data has been copied. Now, if I use a magnifier, you will able to see I entered the same data where you can see kernel 32.7c861119. So basically, in place of WinExec, you can see some value. That value is nothing but the memory address of WinExec. Okay. So for every it will automatically you know it's the default thing. Like in every system, you'll find a different value, and Unity will automatically pull it. Now, when you run this one, so let me just close the magnifier. When you will run this one, okay. So I believe, as I said, like is let me do it again. Let me restart. Let me do it again. Maybe I need some of the more piece of code. Fine. Binary, fill with, knobs, and then binary, the value which I have pasted those values. So if I just cross verify, I hope the value would be there in its place. Correct, the value is there. I'm just, yes, this, you can see this value. This is the value, right? Now, if I run, okay. So, maybe we are facing some sort of error. So let's give it a last try for some other piece of source code. Okay. Or I believe we need to write it from very beginning. But okay, let me give it a last try, guys. And meanwhile, I would love to take questions. If anybody has any questions, please ask. So the error was with Unity debugger file open. Let's open this one. Awesome. Now let's do it quickly. This time we will simply, instead of doing copy paste, we will simply write these values. Okay, just copy paste from here. Maybe that is the problem. When you copy paste the value from somewhere, the value may get corrupted. So we need to assemble it one by one. Okay, the same value I'm assembling it over here one by one, and we will see the result. I hope you guys are enjoying this error. I always enjoy a error lot, right? But sometimes, it also creates some problems. Let's see. I will give it a last try. But you can always keep a copy of this code, right? And You can run it in your system. So I'm just pushing it one by one in the register. So just to save the time, yes, this is how the reverse engineering works, and this is how you can write one exploit. I will show you another topic, right? So we have very less time. We have another 7 minutes. So I would okay. So kernel 32. We need to be a little bit careful about kernel 32. Kernel 32. The W would be capital. This is the very case sensitive. Win exec assemble. I hope I can keep a binary like this. So this is what I have done earlier. Binary copy. Seems good. Let's run. So yes, could you see that? I got a calculator, right? So it happens. So at bottom of the line, I got the calculator. Now, if the same piece of code, if I send to a victim and to other user, so what you will able to see that uh, I can modify it in my own way, right? I can do modifications, and I will play a small video where I have shown. So I've just done it just before this session. I thought of recording this because this is going to conclude the entire thing. So the same thing you can extend to another label, right? And what you can do, like I am using one of the application. Okay, so as you can see, I have opened the application in the uh, MD debugger, and I'm writing a piece of code. So at beginning, like I have shown you one exploit DB link. So there the piece of code was written in C. Here I am doing it using Python. Okay. So I kept the video very small. Okay. Now what I'm doing over here, if I explain you, so I've attached one file called minishare.exe. You can watch it from here. Okay, I will explain you in between as well. And if anybody has any questions, I would love to answer. Okay. And meanwhile, you can see the video as well. So the same file, right? I am doing, and this is the Python code which I was talking about.
So we have some question listed.
Yeah.
If you allow, we can get started with them.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
How to get started in reverse engineering? Again, a question. Uh,
okay. So basically, if you want to start your career in reverse engineering, the first thing that you should do, you should cover, you should start with the assembly coding, right? Learn the assembly programming first. Be a mastery of that. Let's say if I ask you to write an assembly code which will open CMD in a victim system and will visit a URL automatically, right? So that level of code you need to write, because there are two perspectives. You one assembly code you can write it for like writing a hello world. So start it from hello world and take it up to that level where you can open something from a victim system, and you can do whatever you want, because CMD is the heart of Windows, right? And in case of Linux, like terminal. Okay, so you need to achieve that, and for that a lot of tutorials are available. Follow those tutorials. Once done with the assembly, you know just start with one tool, right? And do a step by step process. So when I'm talking about step by step process, go through with exploit DB, how I have covered this. Go to the exploit DB, check the source code, right? Especially like if you are working on C or Python. I love Python mostly. So let's say if I am a Python guy, then I will look for the exploit which is written in Python. I will try to find some blocks based on that particular exploit, and I will try to replicate in my system, right? And there is a step by step process, so follow that. Okay, and you can also follow the ISOH website. There will find the syllabus and you know a lot of other activities, so you can follow that. Or I have like you can follow the YouTube channel as well. A lot of tutorials are available over there as well.
Next up, we have do we have to learn languages like C?
See, any programming language is fine, I would say. Like, if you don't know any programming language, I would recommend that instead of C, go for Python. So this is my personal choice, but it's not like that. Like you have to learn Python. Any one programming language will work, but you have to learn one programming language at least.
Okay, then we have, sir, why all most buffer are made over C?
So when you say all buffer, so I would say this is a like uh, maybe like the buffer which you have seen, very old buffer. So earlier it was written in C. So let's say if you check now, like in recent zero day exploit which has been reported by multiple clients, multiple researcher, so they are mostly using Python and C. So there's nothing like that that you will find mostly in C, right? So as I said, like it's all about choice. Okay. Yeah.
Uh, it's again a question from Vikas Anand. Exploit development career in India. They
Yeah.
want to ask more about what's the career options in the exploit development, I guess.
Okay. So, uh, see, career in India, let's say if you want to, if you know about career in information security, so first thing you need to decide that you want it to be dependent on some tools or you want it to be your own, right? Or you want to run alone. Alone when I'm saying that not dependent on any tool. So if you wanted to be an independent security researcher, exploit writing will play a very important role in each and every aspect. Now separately, if you say that is there in a separate uh, career option is there in exploit writing, then I would say yes. There are a lot of companies are there in Pune, in Bangalore. So I have been previously associated with KPMG. So I have met with a lot of persons who were spending time with those companies only, and they were working on exploits and malware analysis full time. So any antivirus companies, right, they always prefer to have reverse engineering and exploit writing and malware analysis concept in the any candidate. And apart from that, if you are going for any product based company, if they are working on any sort of product, if you are developing some sort of product, so as a security researcher, they are looking for some writer who can find zero day in their applications. So requirement is everywhere.
Next up, we have which language syntax is this? Is this assembly language?
Yes, it is a assembly language. And like when you write the cell code, what I do, right, like I'm sharing my personal experience. So when I write some sort of cell code, then I don't prefer any programming language, because ultimately every programming language is going to convert it into assembly code only. So I write exploit directly in assembly. So as I have shown one example where I have open calculator in victim system. So I can send the same piece of code to a victim system. There is a method for that, right? And it will open calculator in victim system. Now if I can open calculator in victim system, you can open anything. So uh, yes, it is one of the best option, and again it is very easy as well. Yeah.
Binary code.
Yeah. Any more questions, Gopal?
Yes, sir. Disha would be taking a question.
Okay, so
Hello, am I audible?
yeah, audible.
Yes, the next question is how to get started in exploit writing, where to find simple applications to exploit, and he's also telling that, for example, the bad blue had an easy exploit.
Okay, so like if you there is a step by step process. Yes, I'm completely agree to that. Like if you want to learn exploit writing, then there is a step by step process. So if you are looking for some let's directly jump into the answer. You can work on Minishare to start with. So the video which you have seen, which I have created about Minishare, there is something called a Bison is there, right? Bison FTP server, as per I remember. Okay, and then I worked on this long back. So let me just check. There's a DVM player, right? So you will get to know that. And one example, what I would say, instead of going to this line by line name, I would recommend to start with Minishare, right? That is also called vanilla exploit, I believe. And apart from Minishare, once you cover that, once you understand that, right, the next step is SEH bypass, right? After SEH you can go to egg hunting bypass, then ASLR bypass, dep bypass. So this is the step by step process. And when you cover the simple buffer overflow, for example Minishare, try to see some of the more examples in Google, right? Go and visit those places. You will find some other look-alike application where you can practice. But yes, a guidance is required, right? So you can connect me with over LinkedIn, right? So I will be there and I can guide you. Not an issue.
Yes, sir. The next question is what can you do with reverse engineering binary code?
Reverse engineering binary code.
Yes,
Okay. So what happened now? Like reverse engineering binary code, which you have seen, I believe you are asking about this question, right? Like these binary codes, right? So this binary value, like this is nothing but the hex value. Okay. So whenever you write any piece of code, like let's say in Metasploit also, what you will find values like this. Like if you remember, like if you have ever go through with the Metasploit and any source code, you will find just a slash x over there. So nothing but the hex value. And like if I understood your question right, so like whenever you write some sort of value, you can convert those value in hex. And the value which I have mentioned over there, like I was typing this two values, like if you guys remember. So this is nothing but like calci.exe, right? Calci.exe, you just convert it into hex. And there are two formats which are available. The Windows normally follow the Little Indian format. There are two format: Big Indian format and Little Indian format. So this is mostly like you need to write in the Little Indian format, and this will look like this. Okay, and so that's the thing. Yeah.
thank you, sir. The next question is how to patch encrypted payload with APK or an .exe file.
How to patch an APK with a
How to patch encrypted payload with APK or an .exe file.
okay. So basically, like encrypted payload. See, if you talk about, there are two things again. There's a trick. So I found a lot of candidates misunderstand between encrypted and encoding, right? So when you talk about encrypted, then encryption works on public and private key you know view. So that is very difficult to implement encrypted over there. I believe your question is encoding, right? Because the payload which you will develop, that is will be installed by a victim at anywhere. Okay. So encoding and decoding, if your question is, then like you simply can't encode some, you can't simply place a encoded code in a exe file. What's the right approach? That you put the cell code, right? You put the cell code in encoded format. You also have to write a method in the same program which will decode that particular source code. So how it works, let's say if first four lines is my encoding, then this next four lines will be responsible to decode this four lines a payload to decode it, so that when victim will run it and when antivirus will scan that particular file, they will find those files in encoded or encrypted form, right? If you can use encryption, that is also good. And later, at the time of execution, it will decode itself with their own, and you will have your desired result. That means you can have your reverse connection from the victim system. Yeah.
Yes, sir. The next question is I am too newbie and I want to be a good pen tester. Which programming language should I learn and how to start? Kindly guide.
Okay. So initially, like without any second thought, you learn any single programming language. I would not say that start with C, start with Python, start with Java. You at least start, right? And when you start, trust me, each and every programming language is exact same. When I'm talking about exact same, the concept, if your concept is clear, you can learn any programming language. See, myself, like if I say I know 10 to 12 programming languages, but it's not like that. I have I am a pro of all 10 to 12 programming language. So during my college days, I was very good with Java, right? So I also started my career in C programming. Then I did a lot of research in Java. I worked on JSP and servlets. So it's not like that. Like you start with any programming language, I would say. Be a master of that programming language, learn the concept. Don't try to memorize anything when it comes to programming language. Understand the thing, understand the flow, draw a flow chart, and try to implement the code, any programming language, in some real world scenario example, right? Once you're able to do that in any single programming language, I can guarantee you, you can learn Python, you can run Ruby, you can learn anything, and you can do this cybersecurity from any programming language. So this platform is independent of any programming language. But yes, the most popular programming language is Python. So if you are looking for more resources, like if you want to having a more resources from multiple places is always a added advantage. So if you are looking for that, then Python is a very good choice to start with.
Thank you, sir. So, can you share your social media account, LinkedIn, or any other, so that the volunteers can voluntarily connect to you, and if they have any doubt, they can ask you there.
Yeah, so this one is my LinkedIn profile, right? So if you just know like so if you just type my name in Google, you will find this profile, right? The same picture which you can currently see. So you can follow that. And also, like, I am sharing this link in the chat box. I don't know, like, people can see the chat box. I'm using this platform for the first time. uh so let me just type it over here. Okay. Okay, I'm sharing it to in a private chat with the host. Like, I would request the any host from in
Yes,
the
sir. The
group.
link is available for the LinkedIn in the screen. I hope the all of you watching on the screen can get the LinkedIn Gulab Mondal 5065B3124.
Correct. That
And
is
if not,
also
you can directly search on the web. He's a renowned personality, and you can easily get it from there.
yeah. You guys can type my name and you will get my profile.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for connecting with us. Now we will pursue the event. It was a great pleasure having you, and I would like to say that this session was filled with knowledge. And thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you entire Damcon team, and thank you all the participants who have attended this session. I really enjoyed, because whenever people ask multiple questions, so as I take it always in a positive note. Questions means that you guys are enjoying, you guys are watching, you guys are learning. So it's never about like how what sort of question you are asking. You are always welcome to ask any single question. As I say, knowledge is something is like, if I learn it for sharing, so I am sharing, and you can always connect with me in multiple social media platforms. I do not use any single platform apart from LinkedIn. So if you found my Facebook profile, so I have not used for past 10 years, right? So connect me over LinkedIn only, right? I use that only, and you will find my prompt response over there. So thank you, Damcon team, again, for this, wonderful uh, event. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. You're most welcome. Now, moving on, I would find an immense pleasure for introducing Miss Chenny Ren, who is the security consultant at Asian. Okay, I would take a small break for the sponsored. Sorry for interrupting. So, meet you back in 5 minutes. Thank you.
The Bug Crowd platform is the fastest way to access diverse security skills that continuously add value to your organization. First, we'll connect you with solutions that add the most value, like bug bounty, penetration testing, attack surface management, and vulnerability disclosure programs. When you're ready, we'll begin plugging your team into our on-demand cybersecurity workforce. Don't worry, our trust and triage engine will always vet expertise and validate reports, saving you valuable time. With standardized workflows repeatable as you scale, your team can hit the ground running. The platform will help build incentivization frameworks that optimize submissions while also calibrating and retesting to deliver resilient security outcomes, all while managing the expertise needed for end-to-end execution. Finally, the customer console keeps you in the driver's seat, providing you everything you need to be successful, empowering you to fix faster with integrations that roll directly into your SDLC.
Now we would be making the session forward. So I find immense pleasure in introducing Miss Chenny Ren, who is the security consultant at Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. She has also many certifications like Offensive Security Certified Professional, Offensive Security Wireless Professional. She is also the AWS Security Specialist, Penetration Tester, Red Team Professional, and SOC Specialist. She has specialization in fields of web application, pen testing, industrial Internet of Things, security operations center, managed security services, and many more. Ma'am, we invite you to share your wisdom with us on the topic of proactive threat hunting in the Security Operations Center.
Hello everyone, this is Chenny Ren. I'm really excited to be invited as a speaker in Damncon 2021 and talk about security with you guys. So today my topic is proactive threat hunting in Security Operations Center. We're talking about the threat hunting in a blue team visions. Let me do a brief introduction of myself. I'm a security consultant in AIB, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Banking. I have many experience in finance-related security works. I'm a red team professional, ethical hacker, and I have do a lot of research in blockchain security as well, especially DeFi and the blockchain pen testing. You can see my articles on the Medium. I have the OSCP, OSWP, CEH, and AWS security specialty. If you'd like to talk more security with me, you can reach out to me through my Instagram or Twitter after today's lecture. Okay, so before entering into today's topic, let me do an introduction for today's agenda. So we will talk about what is cyber threat hunting, because that seems like a new word to most people. Why do we need it besides the regular penetration testing or SIEM, the logs monitoring? And we'll discuss the patterns for modern attacks, the limitations of SOC, and so on. We'll talk about the purpose of threat hunting, the models, and what threat hunting can do. Of course, we'll discuss the methodologies. And finally, it's our demo part. So if you have attended my lecture before, you will always know that I love to include some demos, the real world practice in my sessions, because that emphasize how to conduct a real threat hunting rather than we talk about the definitions. Okay, let's start. What is cyber threat hunting? By definition, cyber threat hunting is the practice of proactively searching for cyber threats that are lurking undetected in a network. The cyber threat hunting digs deep to find malicious actors in your environment that have slipped past your initial endpoint security defenses. So, the cyber threat hunting combines the use of human talent and engineering to seek indicators of compromise, the IOCs. So with threat hunting, the cyber threat intelligence analysts are able to familiarize themselves with an organization's environment and are able to effectively filter out key events that need to be examined closer. The analyst can also find and identify the possible targets and interpret patterns around the attack. You can see through the security analyst and all the modern advanced SOC settings, the threat hunting is for proactive actions to curate and automation the logs and informations inside the SOC. And this process allows proactively uncover the hidden threats and increase the accuracy for capturing these threats, so that it can reduce the likelihood of an incident. And the quicker the active threats are identified and communicated to an incident responder, the quicker the threat can be neutralized before more damage to network and data occurs. So the cyber threat hunting is not a one-time job, it is a pretty constant issue. is like for an organizations to implement this exercise very frequently to effectively identify and protect themselves from potential attacks. So all we know, the threat hunting is becoming increasingly important as companies seek to stay ahead of the latest cyber threats to rapidly respond to any potential attacks. For an attacker, after sneaking into the company's network, an attacker can stealthily, secretly remain in a network for months as they quietly collect data looking for confidential materials in the Active Directory or obtain the login credential that will allow them to move laterally across the environment. And the vision of lone hacker in the basement is dangerous outdated. Nowadays, the attackers are really well founded, that they have really advanced tools to conduct the attacks, and very likely they are a very structured, trained team. And attacks are not targeted, which means like they spend time on your environment. They customize the malware and customize the attacks to attack your infrastructures, and they innovate for each target, which means like that's not a regular thing. Like really, for each target, that's the new innovations. How do we conduct the cyber threat hunting? Do we have a framework? Yes, like we have the matrix attack framework. It's really useful for organizations, especially red teaming and purple teaming, because the attack matrix framework is used for threat intelligence resources developed and maintained by the matrix. Behind the matrix lies a knowledge base on the attacker's TTP, the tactics and procedures. All of them based on real-world observations collected, and they're curated by matrix security team. By using this framework, we investigators can build a contextual threat modelings related to their particular organizations, and profiling the threat groups, maybe seek for steal their informations, build attacking models of the tools and tactics that they use to meet their objectives, because you can see that expose why the certain tactics are used, and the investigator can determine the kind of the tools the attacker would be used for successful. The tactics help the threat hunters categorize attacks against their system into the phases across along a timeline, from the initial access, like the reconnaissances, to the data exfiltrations, like the last step, and gaining a persistence on the network. At each stage of this kill chain, you can see this kill chain. So this website is Attack Matrix. You can see this Attack Matrix for Enterprise. That's a framework. By each atom, which is the tactics like the attackers use, and by long observations by the matrix, they categorize the patterns from the reconnaissance to initial access to finally like the data exfiltrations. Let's click one. Yeah, sorry, it's a bit slow. Okay, so this one is compromised client software binaries. You can see there the procedure examples from past malicious software and the mitigations and how it detected. So based on this matrix attack framework, we can clearly see what the attacks look like, and can be used as our reference for threat hunt. The limitations of our Security Operations Center, one thing is about the syslog. We have to know that the syslog is a standard for message logging. It allows the separation of the software that generates messages, the system that stores them, and the software that reports and analyzes them. The computer system designers may use the syslog for system management and security auditing, as well as general informational analysis and debugging messages. And a variety of the facility, like the devices such as the printers, routers, message receives across many platforms, and they use the syslog standards. And this allows the consolidation of logging data from different types of systems in a central repository, that is central logging. Implementations of the syslog exist for many operation systems like Linux or Windows operation system. But one thing we have to know that the syslog was never designed for security. It is like more appropriate to call it like as a severity level for the events that triggers, even like if it causes alarm or harm to your operating system, that it categorizes it into the severity level, like the emergency level or warning level. But there is no security severity level. And also, there is no standard for message context because different platforms or different applications logs events differently. And decoding is not included, it's just a message delivery. Since like each process, application, and operating system was written independently, there is really no uniformity to the payload of the log messages. So for this reason, no assumption is made about its formatting or contents. And the syslog message is formatted like using the RFC 5424, but it's not a message field, it's not. Also, there is limitations of deployment. So one question for everyone. Are you sure that you can log all the events in your organization's environment, even you have integrate your firewall log, WAF logs, every device and system? Are you sure that you can see all the logs in your environment with like some advanced SIEM tools like QRadar or Splunk? But I have yet to see an environment that can accurately make this claim that till now there is no advanced security tools that can log all the events in your environment. Like even when you have your logs, the attackers can still disable this. So that's called file open system. And that can access your internet without logging or no alert. So, and if the attackers do that, can you detect the disabled logins? So that's limitations for the logging. Our purpose of the threat hunting is to monitor everyday activities and traffic across the network and investigate the possible anomalies to find and yet to be discovered malicious activities that could lead to a full breach. And there are two types of the threat hunting. One is structured hunting and the other is unstructured hunting. Structured hunting is based on the IO8 and tactics and procedures, the TTPs, as we just showed for the Matrix attack. The O hunts are aligned and based on the TTPs of the threat actors. Therefore, the counter usually is able to identify a threat actor even before the attacker can cause damage to the environment. And this type leverages the Metro attack framework we just showed, and using both the pre-attack and enterprise framework. But the unstructured hunting is different. An unstructured hunting is initiated based on a trigger. It's more aligned to intelligence-based hunting, where the trigger should be any IOCs, and this is often a cue for a hunter to start looking for pre- and post-detection patterns. The hunter can research as far as data retention and previously associated offense law. So the attacker's approach is based on the previous research more. For the threat hunting methodologies, first is assume like the adversaries are already in the system. That means like there's already a computer or access point is being compromised. And we have three hunting methodologies: intel-based hunting, hypothesis hunting, and customized hunting. The intel-based hunting is a reactive hunting model. The inputs are the IOCs from the threat intelligence sources, like the hash value, IP address, domain names, and so on. So from there, the hunt follows predefined rules established by your SIEM, by your SIEM 2 and threat intelligence. The intel-based hunts use the IOC's hash values, IP addresses, domain name, and networks for host artifacts provided by your intelligence sharing platforms, such as the computer emergency response teams, your CERTs. An automated alert can be exported from this platform and input into the SIEM as structured threat information expression, the STIX, and trusted automated exchange of intelligence information, TAXI. Once the SIEM has learned based on the IOC, the threat hunter can investigate the activity before and after alert to identify the compromise in your environment. And there is hypothesis hunting. It uses the threat hunting library matrix attack framework. And this is a proactive hunting model. It's aligned with the matrix attack framework. It leverages the global detection playbooks to identify the advanced persistent threat groups, like the APT groups and malware attacks. It uses the IOAs and TTPs of attackers to identify the threat actors based on the environment, domain, and attack behaviors deployed to create a hypothesis in their alignment with the matrix attack framework. And once a behavior is identified, the threat hunter monitors activities for any pattern in order to detect, identify, and isolate the threats. In this way, the hunter is able to proactively detect the threat actors before they can do actually damage to the environment. And the last one is customized hunting. The custom hunting. This model is based on your situational awareness and industry-based hunting methods. It identifies anomalies in the SIEM and endpoint detection response tools, the EDR tools, and is customizable based on your customers' requirements. And it based on your requirements received from your customers or proactively executed based on the situations. Like, for example, like the geopolitical issues and the targeted attacks. And it could be combined. So threat hunting is not straightforward. It's really challenging to document such rapidly evolving adversary tactics. And unlike creating correlation rules for security information and event management system, hunters don't base their investigations of patterns or signatures. Instead, they use really detailed threat hunting intelligence to the anatomy of the attack and motivations of why the attackers do this. Like the threat actors decide what to look for. And what do we need for hunting? We have to focus on building a set of core security capabilities by establishing a formal SOC. So a formal SOC has to be established before the threat hunting. like we have to acquire an automated detection system like the same IDS IPS for a centralized log collection, and we have to acquire the external signature fees and intelligence fees that can complement with your automated detection, so can write the signatures to identify the patterns, and have to establish a specialized incident response team and to follow up the alerts. And what to hunt? Active threat hunting so allows threat hunters to hunt for the complex scenarios of different sophisticated attacks, such as below, like the DNS tunneling, skeleton key malware for the credential dumping, and you have to choose a model like based on the hypothesis driven threat hunting. After select a model, the next step is to go through each of the phases in the model and identify the attacker's activities that you are most concerned with. Each phase in the model can include multiple categories of higher level tactics that can break down into a number of attack activities like listed below. That's what you should look for in your hunting, like the beaconing, the phishing, APTs, and lateral movement. Alright, so now is our demo time. Alright, so I have set up a lab that is for demonstrating the skills that we use in the threat hunting procedures. It's very basic that we just try to show you guys how you filter logs and what you can read from the logs. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so first we'll have to clear that. And our goal is to find the long connections between the two targets that we want to find if there are some maybe potential attackers hiding your systems that the C2 connections. Let's see what we have in here. We have a lot of logs, and we also have a PCAP. It's a traffic monitor. So for the connections, we want to examine the package connection logs. You can see that a lot of things from the address and the information for different connections, but it's really hard to find out which one is the longest one by your eyes. So we have to examine the packet to see the packet is the trace1.pcap. So let's see the packet info. Trace1.pcap. Alright, so we find like the longest connection is the trace. It costs 86,398 seconds. So we want to filter out this from our connection logs. We still use the connection logs, and we use the zcut and to find out the original address and our destination address for the duration, and we have to sort this carefully on our end and for head because we don't want to see so much logs from here. Alright, so now we find out the long connections, which is originated from the 192, 168, 99 to 51, and is to the 167, 71, and it matches our traffic monitoring. So this is the basic tactics for using your logs and how to filter out this. Of course, there are a lot of farther and deeper for threat hunting, but that's just a very small demos for today. Thank you for watching. See you.
Well, that session was so intriguing and interesting, right? So we thank Miss Chenny for being with us today and for so wonderful session. Now we'll wait for the sponsorship videos and we'll meet again in 5 minutes. Thank you.
The Bug Crowd platform is the fastest way to access diverse security skills that continuously add value to your organization. First, we'll connect you with solutions that add the most value, like bug bounty, penetration testing, attack surface management, and vulnerability disclosure programs. When you're ready, we'll begin plugging your team into our on-demand cybersecurity workforce. Don't worry, our trust and triage engine will always vet expertise and validate reports, saving you valuable time. With standardized workflows repeatable as you scale, your team can hit the ground running. The platform will help build incentivization frameworks that optimize submissions, while also calibrating and retesting to deliver resilient security outcomes, all while managing the expertise needed for end-to-end execution. Finally, the customer console keeps you in the driver's seat, providing you everything you need to be successful, empowering you to fix faster with integrations that roll directly into your SDLC. The Bug Crowd platform is the fastest way to access diverse security skills that continuously add value to your organization. First, we'll connect you with solutions that add the most value, like bug bounty, penetration testing, attack surface management, and vulnerability disclosure programs. When you're ready, we'll begin plugging your team into our on-demand cybersecurity workforce. Don't worry, our trust and triage engine will always vet expertise and validate reports, saving you valuable time. With standardized workflows repeatable as you scale, your team can hit the ground running. The platform will help build incentivization frameworks that optimize submissions while also calibrating and retesting to deliver resilient security outcomes, all while managing the expertise needed for end-to-end execution. Finally, the customer console keeps you in the driver's seat, providing you everything you need to be successful, empowering you to fix faster with integrations that roll directly into your SDLC. The Bug Crowd platform is the fastest way to access diverse security skills that continuously add value to your organization. First, we'll connect you with solutions that add the most value, like bug bounty, penetration testing, attack surface management, and vulnerability disclosure programs. When you're ready, we'll begin plugging your team into our on-demand cybersecurity workforce. Don't worry, our trust and triage engine will always vet expertise and validate reports, saving you valuable time. With standardized workflows repeatable as you scale, your team can hit the ground running. The platform will help build incentivization frameworks that optimize submissions while also calibrating and retesting to deliver resilient security outcomes, all while managing the expertise needed for end-to-end execution. Finally, the customer console keeps you in the driver's seat, providing you everything you need to be successful, empowering you to fix faster with integrations that roll directly into your SDLC.
Welcome back, everyone. Now we'll start with the third session of today, which is speaker is Mr. Tushar Verma. Sir, we thank you for accepting our invitation and joining us for today's event. He's an accomplished and performance driven security engineer with 2+ years of expertise in security implementations and various security assessments such as VAPT, application security testing, and DevSecOps. He is a web application penetration tester, network penetration tester, mobile application penetration tester, thick line penetration tester, and also cloud and container configuration reviewer. So has been invited as a speaker at many events such as Recon Village at DEFCON 29, GrabCon 2021, Besides Noida Conference 2021, OVAS Gurugram, OVAS E Road, Girls Trip Jalandhar, and many more. Sir, we now invite you to enlighten us with your knowledge and on hacking open authorization applications.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible? Okay, so let's start. Okay, so hacking OAuth applications. So nowadays, if you are like a very beginner in bug bounty, or if you are just like you're knowing something, you're aware like in every application we are seeing auth functionalities available. So as we know that if we are adding more and more functionality to any application, then of course there are some flaws also, and you can, if you are like you are hacking on any application, if you know about a functionality like how it is working, then you can also find some flaw, and then you can report and exploit that bug to the company. So before starting, let me give you my intro. As he just, I think he has told everything about me, but a short intro. I am working as an AppSec engineer. I'm also a part of Synac Red team and a part-time bug bounty hunter. Like nowadays, I'm not doing bug bounty, but yes, I'm a part-time bug bounty hunter. So now, before going in depth about the attacks, how we can find some flaws in auth application, we need to know about what is auth 2.0. Okay, so auth 2.0 is open authorization. It's the full form, and it is a standard designed to allow a website or application to access resources hosted by other web apps on behalf of a user. So basically, what is happening, if you are if you just go back to some past days, what we were doing, we were just going to a login page, we were giving our email id or let's say username and password, and then we can access to our all the like account data and everything. But nowadays we can use a third party, let's say LinkedIn, Google, Twitter, anything, and we can just access all the things without having our email id or password, or we can say on behalf of a user. Now, Auth 2.0 provides consistent access and restricts actions of what the client app can perform on resources on behalf of the user without ever saying the credential of the user. Like we don't need any like ID password of the user, but we can we can access also the resources, and we can also like it blocks also the to us also. So now, what is the principle of OAuth 2.0? Now, the first thing is OAuth 2.0 is an authorization protocol. It is just authorizing us. Okay, it's not an authentication protocol. Okay, these two are different, and it is like it is basically it is made to grant access to a particular let's say data or your account or anything. For example, remote APIs or user data. Now, or 2.0 uses access token. And now just remember this access token word, because in this whole talk, we will be playing with this only. So an access token is a piece of data that represents the authorization to access resources on behalf of the end user. And one main thing which is you need to remember, like it is not having any format or any pattern. Like if you think like, okay, I can just see like, okay, in this particular let's say client, this is a access token, so I can just find a pattern and I can make my own. No, it's not possible. Okay, so it is not having any format or any pattern like that. Okay, now before like we need to first know about the roles. Like if you are testing for any application and if you are capturing any request, you need to know how it is working, how the application is working, if you are clicking on the particular button, and how you can find some flaw in that. So these are the four important or 2.0. There are many roles. Like if I want, then I can just take like 8 roles, 10 roles, many roles are available, but these four are important. The first one is resource owner, the second one is resource server, the third one is client, and the fourth one is authorization server. So the first one is the resource owner. So it is an entity that can grant access to a protected resource. Okay, that is our end user. Okay, see, I know like many of you won't be understanding this terms. So in the next slide, I will be explaining everything from basic. Don't worry. Now the second one is resource server. So the server hosting the protected resources. Okay, so this is the API you wanted, like the thing which you want to access. Okay, now the third one is client. So an application requesting access to a protected resource on behalf of the resource owner. Okay. And the fourth one is authorization server. That is the server that authenticates the resource owner and issue access token after getting proper authorization. Now I know like, okay, this is like a whole the part is theory. So let's move forward. So this is the auth flow. The first one is the authorization code grant. That is the server side flow. The second one is implicit grant, that is the client side flow. The third one is the resource credential grant, and the fourth one is the client credential grant. Now these were the terms which you need to know if you are like testing for auth flow, auth application, or auth functionality, you need to know first the basic thing. Now the thing is how it's working, because if you don't know how the auth will work, then it's very like hard, or it's very impossible for you to just find a flaw in that application. Like if, I have seen many there are many pen testers who don't know how this auth is working. They are just seeing some reports, and then after that they are just testing on particular for that report only. But it's not like that. If you are a pen tester, you need to first understand how that application is behaving, working, then only you can find a flaw in that. So let's see the protocol flow of that. So where's my mouse? Okay. So now what is happening, the application, let's say the client. Okay. So the application will ask for like for example, if the let's say you have any third party. Okay, and the third the third party can be anything, LinkedIn, Google, and all. So when the client will be trying to access the account, it will be making a request to the resource owner. Okay. And after that it will grant the client the then after that, if like for example, if you're not logged into your account, then of course you can log in, and then they will be granting you an authorization. Now after that, when you're authorized, then it will send it to the authorization server, from where you can generate a access token. And see, all the plays go on this access token only, because we can play with this, we can find flaw in this. Now basically, after getting the authorization like from the authorization server, you're getting an access token. Now access token will be after that, the client from the client side, it will send a access token, and then the resource owner will allow the client to just log into an account, or he can just access the resources. So it is a very basic flow. Okay, like for the auth. And you need to play, like if you are playing for auth misconfiguration, you need to play on these protocol only. So I think it's clear. Let's go ahead. Now auth 2.0 endpoint. So the two endpoints are authorization endpoint and the token endpoint. So we can just move ahead, and we can see how the meaning of these two endpoints. So the first one is the authorization endpoint. So the authorization endpoint is used to interact with the resource owner and get the authorization to access the protected resources. For example, you want to log into any application using a Gmail account. Let's suppose that. So the service will first take you onto the page of the third party, let's say in Google or LinkedIn, or anything you're doing for that. And then they will ask for you to authorize that application to access your data. Let's say the data can be email ID, or let's say it can be contact list. It can be anything. So this is the authorization endpoint. So the request parameter of the authorization endpoint are: the first one is response type tell, the second one is client ID, the third one is the URI part, the fourth one is scope, and the fifth one is state parameter. The state parameter is like you need to always like if you're testing for auth, then you need to always focus on the state parameter, because if there is missing state parameter, or it is not properly if the software engineer has not coded this part good, then you can try to do an account takeover attack on the particular application. Okay. Now the second one is the token endpoint. So the token endpoint is used by the client to obtain an access token by presenting its authorization grant or refresh token. Now let's move to the fun part. Like we all know, it's hacking auth application, and I think you must be bored. So just go on for the main part. That is how we can find the flaws in the auth application. So first one is improper implementation of the implicit grant type. The second one is flawed CSRF protection. The third one is leaking authorization coded and codes and access tokens. The fourth one is flawed scope validation. The fifth one is unverified user registration. The the sixth one is host header injection, and the last one is a reusable auth access token. This last one is very rare, but yes, it's a part, so we can just see some of it. Now comes the improper implementation of the implicit grant type. So, see, what is happening once the auth provider is sending the access token, okay, to the client application, like we have seen here. what was happening basically in this the auth from the authorization server, we are seeing an we are getting an access token to the client, and then the client will send that token to the resource server. So in this only there is a flaw. Like we can find a flaw in that. So once the auth provider send the access token to the client application, application has to maintain a session. Okay, like we all know, like if we are logging to any account, then it's it's a basic thing which we all know. So to achieve this, the client application will often submit the data to a server in a post request, and then assign the user a session cookie. And this session cookie part is, I think, the like the old password based login only. Now what is happening here on the main part, the server, like for example, if the token is being sent to us, to the client, then the server does not have any secret or password to compare with the data which is submitted by the client application. Okay, so if we see any flaw like this, then what we can do? So in this case, attacker can simply change the parameters into the server and can just do an account takeover. Now I know it's very complex, so let's see the practical part of this. So for practical, I am using the Portugal app. Okay, okay. So this was the lab improper implementation of the implicit grant type. Okay. So now see, we have been given two account. So there is this lab. Okay. So this is the account of the let's say victim, and this is the attacker account. Okay. So what we can just first access the lab, and okay. Now the first thing is you can use the buff suit. Okay. So first we can just add the scope item. Okay. Why I'm like, because I don't want the waste traffic on my bulb. Okay. Now let's see this. Okay. We can just okay. Now let's see the lab one. So there are two like home and my account. Let's go on my account. Okay. And see, we will be seeing all this, like all the thing which is happening on the bulbs. Okay, so when I'm doing this, I got this one, like I'm making a request. Okay, let's see the request part here. So it is making a request. I think on the protocol, this one flow, if you see, just a minute. This one. Okay, so this is the first part which we are going. Okay, now what will happen after that? I will just make a request here. Sorry. Hmm. So the username was Winner and Peter. So let's write this Winner and Peter. Now after sign in, we can just again check the burp. See, like it's not like oh, okay, in the testing of real life you won't be checking every time, but just to explain like all the protocol, I'm just showing you and how you can use burp. Like it's all about burp suit, like how you can use. Okay. Okay, now after that, it is showing like we need to give them the authorization that okay, it can authorize our account or not. So when I'm giving it an like I'm allowing the application. Now first okay, so this is my account, that is Vienna and Peter, and now I guess we have a post request maybe here. Okay, now see authenticate, and here we are getting the this email ID username and token. Okay, and then and at last we are getting the ID. Okay, so I think the protocol flow which I have been explaining in this PPT, I know if in that you may be having confusion, so I think now it's clear by seeing the practical lab. Okay, so now we need to find the flaw, and the flaw is wait, it is the improper implementation of the implicit grant type, and means the access token is not been like implemented properly. So what we can do? So now just we can authenticate one because we need to play with access token. And now see, this is the access token, and now the problem is what is happening. Basically, this access token has no fix. Like, okay, they are not checking it. They're just saying, okay, this account exists on their database. This one is on database, so they can authorize it. Okay, this is a flaw in this particular lab. Okay, so now what we can do, we can just change this with the attackers or uh, email ID. So it has given here Carlos at Carlos. So first send it to repeater, and then first see like what is happening here. We are getting a 302 found, means it has been redirected. So now what I will do, I will just okay, so sorry. Then username Carlos. So my aim is like because this lab is just saying like, okay, if this particular username or email ID is present in a database, so they will be authorizing it. Okay, and these type of bugs are very easily available, and you can exploit it also in HackerOne, in Bugcrowd, or in any application. If you are testing for any client or not, you can do it on any application. Now I will send it and see if I am getting a 302 response or not. Now I can just request in browser in the original session. I will copy it and let's paste it here and see if I am getting the user or not. Okay, so of course the lab is solved. You can also do one thing like okay, this is a one part, and you can also use some inspect element also. Like you can just go in inspect element, and then you can just copy the like here the cookies of the user winner. So you can just copy it and you can just use this session cookie also for that. Okay, so this was a like a very basic practical from the Portugal lab. I just wanted to explain you the protocol, because if I don't like, okay, it's like if you don't know about how it's working, then you can't exploit it, as I told beginning also. So you can just observe the history of like how like burp history. You can analyze everything, how it's like behaving, and then you can exploit it. You can exploit it very easily. Okay, so let's move on ahead. So now comes the plot CSRF attack type thing. So now, as I told, missing state parameter. If there is a missing state parameter, then you can easily like try to do a let's say this you can do an account takeover through CSRF. Okay. So basically, what is happening if the authorization request does not send the state parameter, then as an attacker it's a very good thing. Like if I am I'm on the place of attacker, if I saw like, okay, this like let's suppose that this parameter is not present, it's missing, then I can try to get to the account of the victim or any other user. So it means that they can initiate an auth flow themselves before taking a browser of a user into calculating it. Like I can just send them a mail and saying there is no state parameter, so of course I can take over the account. So basically, what is happening? Let's suppose that you can wait. I will show in the lab only if possible. Okay. Let's see the lab only. Um, let's clear the history first. Okay. So the second lab is mm, this one. So okay, force auth profiling. Okay. And like I think in Portugal, what is happening basically, they are having some expert server, and that server is not working sometimes. Okay, so if you are very new to Portugal and you are just solving any lab, and if you come around this expert server thing, this one, so maybe sometime they won't be working properly. So don't be like intense. Like okay, after like you can just try to solve this lab again after a few hours. It will be working. Okay, now basically uh, what is happening, this is the wait Okay, so let's go in my account, and there are two options available here: login with social media, and then the from the password and username. So in this lab, I am given the this blog website account, that is this Vienna Peter, and profile and all. Okay, and this is Vienna Peter hot dog. Okay, let's go for social media profile. Okay, Peter Wiener. Okay, and then the hot dog is okay. Hot dog. What is happening? Sorry. Vienna. Okay. So the now see, I have logged into my account this Wiener, and then the email and all thing, and they have just mentioned the role is normal. Okay. So let's analyze. Now there's one functionality here, attach a server profile. So let's see what I can um, do here. Okay, so sign in, email, username, password. Let's see in my bulb. So I'm getting login, and then this auth client. So the first one is being followed. Okay, so now let's sign in, and now the blog, which is I think this one, Peter Werner and hot dog. I think here. So Peter Werner and hot dog. Sorry, I was not. I didn't read this blog website account profile and all. So now I need to just sign in. Okay, and now it is asking me to authorize. So let's capture this request in my bulb. So sorry. So let's capture this. Continue. I need a code. Yes, very unique code. So okay, this is of confirm. I will forward the request. Again, I need to forward it. Now see, I got a unique code. Okay, and there is no state parameter present. Okay, in this lab, of course it's a lab of CSRF flow only, so there is no parameter present. I know, if you know basic of CSRF attack, then you know how you can deal with this. So now what is happening, if I see there is no parameter present, there is no, then we can just copy the URL. Okay, copy the URL and drop the request, because this is a code which is only working once. Okay, so I can just drop this and intercept off. Okay, and request first drop. Yes, successfully. No, 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 no. Wait. Log out. Now see. Now what we can do? We can just frame an iframe. Okay, like we can just go and exploit, and we can write iframe src. Okay, and then slash iframe. Now if you like thinking of why I'm using iframe, so that if I'm sending it to any like say victim to the email, and after clicking on it, it will openly open, and the account of the victim will be connected with my account. Okay, and then you can just deploy this account. You can just send it to the victim, and then you can wait for it to click it. Okay, so it works like that. Like you can easily try to like force auth profile linking also, and it's a vulnerability, and they are rewarding it. Okay, so let's go for the PPT part again. Okay, so let's move ahead. Now open redirection at redirect URL parameter. So when redirect URL is not checked properly by the auth provider, it is possible for an attacker to steal authorization code associated with the other user account. Okay, and the code or access token can be redirected to attack control website also, and can be used for the like for many attack also. Okay. Now the main thing is, if you know about the open redirection vulnerability, so it is not very easy for us. Like, of course there are some like, of course the software team is working and they are just trying to blacklist, whitelist things. So for that you can just follow the some tricks. Like, for the first one is, you can try let's say at the rate like host at the rate evil host, or you can try hashtag also. Okay. You can also you can also try the parsing of the URI by some different components of the auth services. Okay. The third thing you can do, you can try parameter pollution. Okay. The fourth one is, you can try some local host URI. Okay. It works sometime. Okay. So you can just try to find some like, you can just think out of the box and try to bypass the validation, because it is not easy in the in real life. It is not very easy to you're seeing this parameter and then you're writing anything and you're getting a bug and then you report. No, it's not very easy. So you need to know how you can bypass it. Now the this one is flawed scope validation. So what is happening every time when the user log into the authorization server, they will be presented with a list of data that the client application want to access, like email, profile picture, their document, everything. Now with the authorization code grant type, the user data is requested and sent via secure server to server communication. So for attacker, it is impossible to manipulate directly. So what attacker can do, it can register their own client application with the auth services. Okay. Now for the implicit grant type, the access token is sent via browser. Okay. So attacker can steal token and use directly by sending the normal browser-based request to the auth endpoint, and it can add a scope parameter in the process. Okay. And this is very rare. Like, we don't get this type of flawed scope validation nowadays, because it's very, like, you need to first make your own client application, and it's not that much like common. It's very rare. Then come the unverified user registration. Now, some websites that provide an auth services allow user to register an account without verifying all the details, including their email address. Now, attacker can exploit this by just making an account with the auth provider using the same detail as a target user, such as their known email address, and signing the victim via fraudulent account. Now, see what is happening here basically. Now, let's suppose that I have an application XYZ, name it is. Now, what I will be doing, I will be first, let's suppose that the attacker know my email address. Okay. Now what will happen if let's say I'm a victim, and I will be just log into the I'm creating an account to the auth functionality. Now what attacker will do, attacker will also make an account with the same email ID, but not with the auth functionality. He will be going for the common basic thing which we do, just email ID, password, name, and all. Now what will happen, sometimes what happen, it just integrate. So if it is added to my account only, then what can the attacker can also access to my account via the ID pass which he has created. And since the application is not confirming the email address, so it can be also a bug. Okay, I have found this type of bug on Bugcrowd, and they pay good for that. Okay, you can find and report to the Bugcrowd team also. I don't know for now, but in the past last year, they were just accepting this issue. Now comes the host header injection. So if the host is not being validated at the server, there is possibility to redirect the token to the host or any attacker host via host header injection. So let's suppose that if I am just writing on the attacker.com/victim.org, and if it is not being checking that, then as we are changing the host, then it can just go to the some other link and can leave a token that is issued. Sorry. So these are some like one more, sorry, auth. Now the last one is very rare, that is reusable auth access token. So what is happening, the token, of course, in any token which is sent from servers need to expire after some time. Okay, it can be like after I'm logging into the account, or I'm just using it and anything like that. So what is happening, when I'm getting a token and I'm logging into my account, it should be like just expire. But sometimes what happen, due to bad practices, it don't get expired and we can exploit it also. So I think that's all for auth application. You can try to solve the lab support because there are many blogs also on Medium or on many website. You can also try to chain things from auth. And if you want to learn more and more, then try to read hackathon report for auth bugs and all. Sorry. So if you have any doubt, you can contact me on my social handle, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, email. You can mail me also. And if you have any doubt now, you can ask me regarding bug bounty or regarding this slide also, or regarding job, anything you want, you can ask me now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. This session was very inspiring. Thank you for being with us. Moving on, I would like to take the vote of thanks. Honorable speakers, most valued invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to have been asked to propose the vote of thanks for this event. I, on behalf of the Damncon team, extend very hearted thanks to all of the speakers for gracing our event and sharing with us the findings and opinions today. Thank you.
The Bug Crowd platform is the fastest way to access diverse security skills that continuously add value to your organization. First, we'll connect you with solutions that add the most value, like bug bounty, penetration testing, attack surface management, and vulnerability disclosure programs. When you're ready, we'll begin plugging your team into our on-demand cybersecurity workforce. Don't worry, our trust and triage engine will always vet expertise and validate reports, saving you valuable time. With standardized workflows repeatable as you scale, your team can hit the ground running. The platform will help build incentivization frameworks that optimize submissions, while also calibrating and retesting to deliver resilient security outcomes, all while managing the expertise needed for end-to-end execution. Finally, the customer console keeps you in the driver's seat, providing you everything you need to be successful, empowering you to fix faster with integrations that roll directly into your SDLC.